What if I told you that one of the most famous kings in history may never have existed? His name echoes through centuries. Arthur. King Arthur. A boy raised in secrecy. A man who drew a sword from stone. A ruler who built a shining kingdom of justice and equality, only to see it torn apart by betrayal. Was he real? Was he myth? Or was he something in between? A story so powerful it outlived the truth. This is the legend of King Arthur, the once and future king. Arthur's story begins not in golden halls, but in chaos. Britain was fractured after Rome's legions withdrew. Warlords fought for scraps of power. Alliances broke as quickly as they were made, and the land cried out for unity. At the center of this turmoil was Uther Pendragon, a warlord with ambition burning in his heart. He desired Igraine, the wife of the Duke of Cornwall. When persuasion failed, he turned to Merlin, the enigmatic wizard whose shadow falls across every Arthurian tale. Through sorcery, Uther disguised himself as Igraine's husband and conceived a child with her. That child was Arthur, but destiny demanded secrecy. Merlin, knowing the boy would be hunted, placed him in the care of Sir Ector, a loyal knight. Arthur grew up far from castles, raised as a humble squire beside Ector's son, Kay. He knew nothing of crowns or prophecies, only discipline, hard work, and a quiet sense of justice. Years later, Britain was once again leaderless. Uther was dead, and rival lords fought for power. Then, in a churchyard, a strange sight appeared, a sword sunk deep into a block of stone. Inscribed were the words, "Whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone, an anvil is rightwise king born of all England." Many tried, proud nobles strained, knights cursed, but none could budge it. Then came Arthur, still a boy, still unknown. He wasn't even there to prove himself. He simply needed a weapon for his foster brother, Kay. Without ceremony, Arthur grasped the hilt and drew the sword free, as though it had always been his. At first, few believed it. But when he repeated the feat again and again, truth could not be denied. The boy from the shadows had become king. Arthur's early reign was fragile. Many nobles refused to kneel to a boy of uncertain birth. But Arthur proved himself not with words, but with deeds. He fought the rebel kings who defied him. He led men into battle, not from the rear, but from the front. And slowly, he transformed suspicion into loyalty. Arthur was no tyrant. He believed in justice, equality, and honor. These ideals took form in the most enduring symbol of his reign, the Round Table. Unlike any court before it, the Round Table placed all men as equals. No head, no foot, no hierarchy. Here, lords, knights, and kings sat shoulder to shoulder, bound not by blood, but by oath. Camelot, Arthur's court, became a vision of hope, a golden age built on fellowship. But legends are rarely simple. The sword Arthur pulled from the stone eventually broke in battle. It was then that Merlin guided him to a quiet lake. There, from the waters, rose a mysterious figure, the Lady of the Lake. In her hands gleamed Excalibur, a blade of unearthly beauty. Its scabbard said to protect its bearer from mortal wounds. Arthur accepted it, and Merlin gave a warning. Guard the scabbard more dearly than the sword, for the sword can win battles, but the scabbard will save your life. Excalibur was more than a weapon. It was a reminder of duty, of the fragile thread between life and death. Arthur's reign was tested again and again. At Baden Hill, he led his knights against the invading Saxons. The battle was brutal, but Arthur stood unbroken, Excalibur blazing in the sun. His victory secured Britain's peace for a generation. When Rome demanded tribute, claiming Britain still owed allegiance, Arthur refused. He crossed the sea, defeating Rome's legions and slaying Emperor Lucius in battle. For a moment, Arthur's fame spread beyond Britain. His name whispered across Europe. These victories made him a living legend. Yet even the greatest kings cannot escape betrayal. Within Arthur's own bloodline brewed danger. His half-sister, Morgan Le Fay, wielded dark sorcery and sought his downfall through schemes and curses. And in a tragic twist, Arthur fathered a son, Mordred, through an unknowing union with another half-sister, Morgause. Prophecy declared that Mordred would one day destroy him, but Arthur's deepest wound did not come from magic or prophecy. It came from love. His queen, Guinevere, and his greatest knight, Lancelot, fell into a forbidden romance. Their bond shattered the unity of the Round Table. Brothers in arms turned against each other. Knights once sworn to loyalty drew swords in anger. Camelot's golden age began to crack. When Arthur marched to war against Lancelot, Mordred seized his chance. He claimed the throne, spread the lie that Arthur was dead, and even took Guinevere as his own. Arthur returned, but the kingdom was broken. Friend fought friend, loyalty dissolved, and the dream of Camelot lay in ruins. At last came the Battle of Camlan, father against son, king against traitor. Arthur drove his spear through Mordred, but in that same moment, Mordred struck a mortal blow. Both fell, and with them, the last hope of Camelot. Dying, Arthur commanded his knight Sir Bedivere to return Excalibur to the lake. Twice, Bedivere failed, unwilling to part with the sacred blade, but the third time, he cast it into the waters. From the lake rose a hand, pale and strong, catching Excalibur and pulling it beneath the waves. Arthur was carried to the shore, where a mysterious barge awaited. On it stood 3 queens, veiled in shadow. They bore him away to Avalon, the mystical isle where, some say, he still waits, to return when Britain needs him most. Thus ended the reign of King Arthur, or perhaps only paused it. So, who was Arthur? Historians argue he may have been a Romano-British war leader who fought the Saxons in the 5th or 6th century. Others believe he is pure myth, a figure shaped by poets, priests, and storytellers. But the truth may matter less than the legacy. For over 1,000 years, Arthur's story has been retold. In medieval romances, Victorian poetry, modern novels, and blockbuster films. From Geoffrey of Monmouth to the Mists of Avalon and the Once and Future King, each age reshaped Arthur to reflect its dreams. To some, he is a warrior. To others, a just ruler. To many, a symbol of hope. The promise that a noble king will rise when the world needs him most. And perhaps that is the power of Arthur. Not in proving whether he lived, but in showing us what humanity longs for. Justice, unity, and the dream of a better kingdom. Arthur Pendragon, the boy who drew the sword, the king who built Camelot, the once and future king. And now, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of King Arthur? Do you see him as a real warrior lost to history, or as a myth crafted to inspire hope? Did you enjoy the journey through his legend, the rise of Camelot, the betrayal, and the enduring mystery of the once and future king? If you did, let me know in the comments. I always enjoy hearing your thoughts, and if you love exploring the myths and legends that shaped our world, don't forget to subscribe to Legends Reborn. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the next legend.